sure how I didn't think of this as a video topic until now, because I talk about this all the time. On one hand, I want to call it the projector-generator relationship, and yet that's a huge topic, and that's not really what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the communication. Well, I don't have a plan. I'm going to see what comes up. You know, in a sense, is what have I seen? What have I been exposed to? What have I been watching? What's in front of me? Not what to do and what not to do, or what you should be afraid of, or what you need to do, just what is there for projector and generator communication. If I start with what is there, number one, there are auras. There are two very different types of auras. The generator aura, open, enveloping, spherical, round. Part of what the roundness is to communicate is that it extends as far behind as it does forward. Things can come into, things are being pulled into it from all of these different areas. Now, when we think about an aura, we tend to think about a defining shape or a boundary line, or like the distance it reaches to, but it doesn't go beyond. But for this conversation, I want you to think about the aura as something that is strongest from the monopole and becomes weaker the further it gets away from the body. And so that generator aura, it doesn't have a like, that's the boundary line of where it ends. It just becomes less powerful. But ultimately, things can come into this from so many different directions, and they just get taken in. There's a warmth, there's an embrace, but there is this taking in of the other that the generator does. And when I say generator, I'm referring to generator type. Generator, manifesting generator, sacral being. Now that projector aura, I want you to think about the shape of the projector aura, my aura, more conical in nature. As in, I want you to think about it as coming to a point, something that is pokey, something that is penetrative, something that ideally we want consent for. I am a penetrative aura. I grab on to the magnetic monopole and I start to pull information that's very, very, very personal. And what it feels like is poking the other person. That's not something I want to do to somebody unless they want me to. That's why I wait to be invited. I wait to be invited to poke somebody, because when they invite me to do that, what they're saying is, come read me. Come see who I am, how I feel, what I need to be asked, and what kind of guidance I want from you. So with projector and generator communication, the first things that are communicating are the auras. How do the auras interact? We want to discern what we can feel from the other without language. I don't need language to feel a generator. I exist. Literally, my type was created to feel the generator, to take their sacral energy into my undefined sacral center. I'm going to feel whether or not this generator is satisfied or whether or not they're frustrated. If they're satisfied, I'm going to amplify that. And it's going to feel a little bit like I'm getting high on life force energy. Now, if they're frustrated, I'm going to amplify that too. A frustrated projector is really weird, really weird. So we have to be, and a frustrated projector, that's a projector that is holding frustrated sacral energy. It is hard on our bodies. It shreds our bodies. It's debilitating. It will give us autoimmune diseases. We only want to, well, we don't even really want to get close to that. We only possibly even kind of sort of want to get close enough to it to read it and then give you the guidance to go change that. I hope what I communicated there is that it is to the projector's benefit for the generator, sacral being, to be satisfied. It makes me feel much better to be near a generator that is satisfied, that feels good. And I don't mean color motivation, I mean just, I'm driven to. I am motivated to, as a type, my existence. I am motivated to find success by successfully and efficiently guiding energy types to their signature. I exist for the sacral being's benefit. Not all projectors are ready to be guides. All projectors are born with the potential to be guides, but most projectors don't live what their body graph is. Most of them are overwhelmed, very conditioned, stuck in not self. I'm probably not going to seek guidance from a projector that I can tell is not self, is bitter, is not living up to their potential, doesn't have a good reputation, isn't a recognized guide. I'm not really going to trust that one as much as I'm going to trust another projector who is successful, who is recognized, who has a reputation. So yes, projectors are here to be guides for sacral beings, but we don't just get to step into that role, and we're certainly not bossy or self-electing for it. That would be like us trying to inform or initiate. We simply have to wait to be recognized. We develop ourselves, we work on our systems, we study. Whatever your type of study is, whatever your system is, however you like to take information in, you study. And that's what we call preparing. You know, if the projector is waiting to be invited, waiting is active preparation. You should be becoming a good guide, a good projector, so that a generator, sacral being, can recognize that you're a good projector who has the ability to guide them to their signature. So good communication between these two belongs to the fact that this is what they're both after. If I try and help anybody with communication who's having a hard time, I want to look at what they're trying to accomplish with the communication. What's our goal? What's our end game? Where are we trying to get to? And ultimately, we're trying to get to signature. So when I think about the projector is here for success and the generator is here for satisfaction, we have these auras that allow us to read a level of information in each other without even needing to get into conversation. If you're a projector and you're watching this and you're thinking about the generators that you communicate with, knowing about aura, knowing about signature, knowing how important it is that you are the best projector you can be in order to get recognized and invited by a generator type. If the auras understand each other and respect each other, and the motivation for both is to find their signature, then whenever we fuck up the communication, those are two really important places to come back to. Did we navigate away from what the point was, signature? And did we lose awareness on what is the mechanical conversation that's happening before the verbal conversation? What are the auras saying to each other? Do you remember what those are and how they communicate with each other and what kind of problems or hiccups in communication they'll already give you? You would probably think that a video on communication between projectors and generators is going to have a lot to do with asking questions, getting them to respond. And I realize I have a lot more to say on this topic than I realized. I realized I have more to say than I realized. Obviously, Sam. I think I could do another video on this, and yet that's probably what the class will mostly be about. I'll do a class on this. I'll probably do many classes on this. If generator types are, 60 to 70% of the population, and projectors are 15 to 20% of the population, we're working with a huge amount of the population. Really, all we got is 10% left. You got roughly 9% manifestors and 1% reflectors. The core dynamic on the planet is projectors and generators. We are here, projectors, we are here now for the generator. The generator is ready to be asked. Now, the funny thing is when you're ready to ask a generator questions, You can't just ask them. You know, we have this, I'll be honest, we have a lack of awareness, a huge lack of awareness with communication, where it almost always starts wrong, and sometimes it is meant to. And with awareness, you can, within like 2 sentences, put it back in the right mechanics. But without awareness, you can't do that. Let me give you an example of what I mean here. As a projector, I do not need to guide unless I am invited to. My role is guiding. So if I'm not guiding, I'm just living. So I'm either living my life or I'm involved in somebody else's because I was invited to, and I'm currently guiding them. Generators are waiting to respond. Now, we have the generator is waiting for somebody to ask them something so they can respond. And I'm waiting to be invited. So in theory, we could sit right here and say nothing to each other and nothing could happen. And that would be pretty natural. That would be pretty okay. There's also the opportunity for the generator to say, hey, projector, whatever, you know? But ultimately, the generator pseudo-initiates. This is where it gets really interesting. The generator pseudo-initiates, and the projector recognizes and puts them in the correct type of conversation. So maybe it's something like, hey, do you know how to do this? And this is my freaking hand puppets. Hey, do you know how to do this? That's a yes or no question, by the way. This projector does not want to be asked a yes or no question. And in the annoyance of being asked a yes or no question that the generator kind of initiated. So all of this is really awkward for a second. The projector says, do you really want to know? Would you really like me to tell you? Would you like? So they have to take what the generator just said to them, reformulate that, and give it back to them. Because really, the generator is trying to initiate the projector into guidance. The projector has to recognize that and lead it appropriately by asking the generator, do you really want that? That's when the generator has the opportunity to go, uh-huh, or or however they're going to respond. And that's when the projector really knows, are we even going to have a relationship here? Was any of this correct? Because as soon as the generator goes, conversation's over. Everybody go back to your life. But if the generator goes, now the projector has the opportunity to guide that generator, and that generator is not only listening to what the projector is going to say, they're registering it. It's not just listening, it's actually taking it in. It's actually hearing it. The projector penetration is happening. It's landing. The information's going across. So there is a very interesting conundrum that happens with projectors and generators. And this is one of the ways that I can tell whether or not a projector is awake enough to do their job. Because when I have a generator that goes like, will you blah, 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 or whatever it is, they ask the projector a question, right? The projector responds. I don't know if any of you notice this happen. The conversation tends to go to shit right after that. And we're stuck in response mode and nothing good happened there. I can't do the hand puppets anymore. I can't. I'm getting lost in my own head between my voice, their voices, and all the other voices that I want to try and bring out. I think I can really reduce that into, if we've got a projector and a generator and they are having communication problems, number one, the responsibility falls to the projector. We are here to be more aware. We are here to be the guide. That means that we have to be a step ahead in order to guide. It is our job to do this. This is your job as a projector. If you can't do this, you can't guide because you can't realize the moment that someone is trying to get you to. We are constantly being asked for guidance, constantly, but we fail to go, do you really want it? And have them actually affirm it and then take the guidance. which leads to more efficiency, which leads to satisfaction and success. Everything gets better when we do it this way. But projectors are so used to being treated like generators that they get asked yes or no questions all the time. Ugh, it hurts them. You can tell they're like, ugh, I hate that. They give you resistance to it, but they still answer. And I'm looking at them going, why did you do that to yourself? Why didn't you just look at them and say, do you really want to know? It's so much better for everybody when we can realize to do that. Okay, this was good. Lots came out. I can tell that there's still quite a bit more, but I'm gonna leave it there because who knows how long this is. Projector, generator, communication. There will be a class. Hope to see you there.